A real story of success is a story of struggle and grit, because life's always going to hit you.
And I tell people, when you go to your workplace, you must go to your workplace with these two mentalities. What is the problem? What is the price?
Don't keep following anything and everything and just wasting your time. I'm telling you, if you just shift your mindset just a little bit, you realize that the next big thing is there.
You know, there's nothing bigger than mindset. There's nothing. Everything has to be intentional. It doesn't come by design.
Something is not adding up here.
Yeah, why is it that I'm making 6 figures but I'm still broke? So I literally went online and Google how to get out of debt. I went online and typed in Google, how do you get out of debt?
When we are in the United States, we should understand that this is the most affluent country in the world. We cannot limit ourselves here. The effort you make to build a 2-story building is the same effort you make to build a skyscraper using other people's money. We just need to clearly understand what we're looking for.
So, it's an interesting question. Thanks very much for that. I think, I'll be very fair to tell you that I need to be fair to tell you that if I tell I don't know all the answers myself. I'm actually on a journey of self-discovery myself.
Oh, wow.
And I think my diagnosis helped me to put a lot of things in perspective. One of the things about people with my personality, if you read up about my situation, is that we have a very strong sense of social justice. So we want things to be done right. Now, is it a conscious choice I made? I don't think so. I think it's just something where that's how I grew to see the world. Now, when I looked around me, I saw there's a rat race around me. People are always struggling to get more money, more clout, more fame, more. And for some reason, that never just appealed to me. Because when I looked at very successful people, and I had the fortune of getting very close to very successful at a very early age, younger than most of my peers actually did. And I looked at their lives. I didn't see the glamour. I saw a lot of struggle. And then I realized, no, a story of growth and a story of prosperity cannot be a story of enjoyment and a story of lights and flares.
There got to be some other thing to it too.
Yeah, a real story of success is a story of it's a story of struggle and grit, because life's always going to hit you.
Yes.
And I got to the spotlight very early, and a lot of young people started coming to like, "Hey, Wax, I want to be like you." And then it was a responsibility for me to tell them, "Look, if you want to be like me, don't look at the business class flights. Don't look at the fancy dinners, and all of those. Those are the little kind of trophies that you get, like in a soccer game. You sweat 90 minutes, you push yourself to the limit, you might even injure yourself, and then you get a trophy, and then everybody wants to take a picture of that trophy, but nobody sees the 90 minutes of struggle."
Correct.
And I thought it's a responsibility for me to show people that, look, this is what I've learned from people who have gone ahead of me. I used to work for the United Nations. I was a professional staff member in the UN in my early 20s. I was barely 23 or so. And one day I walked into my boss's office, a Norwegian guy, Hans Peter Bo, the representative in South Africa. And I looked at him, I loved him to bits because he believed in me. He gave me lots of opportunities. He allowed me to express myself. I loved working with him. But when I looked at his life, and he was 65, I think, at the time, I saw his personal struggles. I saw his struggles with his family, keeping his family together. I saw the stress that he was going through as a human being. And I told myself, I don't want to be that at 65. There has to be more to life than a big position of money. Life is bigger than that. There is more. There has to be more to life. And the more I look at it, the more I'm convinced that life is a circle. You just have to pick what you're gonna eat first. As we say in Cameroon, you get rice and you get meat. Either you chop the rice, now you chop the meat, or you chop the meat, you chop the rice.
You gotta pick what you have to eat first.
Yeah, like you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
And that's how it's. And so my mission has been to kind of tell people the truth that life is a constant struggle. And even when you achieve something, there's always a bigger struggle ahead of you. Because we grew up, and even in our families, often as Cameroonians, when they say entitlement, we were not born entitled. But we grew up thinking that, oh, there's this uncle who's rich, who's made it, so he has a good life. He needs to assist all of us. Oh, Gustav's dad is, this is one of my best examples in life. I use this to inspire myself all the time. Gustav's dad is the prime minister, so he has all in life. He should be rolling with the Trumps and all that, the fancies of America and all that. They have it all, but no.
Yeah.
You realize that successful people are successful and maintain their success because of their daily grind and their daily grit, their daily struggle.
No
and if
sense
you make
of
a mistake
entitlement.
Of not telling children the truth, you're giving them a disservice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not to say that it's not beautiful to be successful, and we should not paint that picture of it's nice to inspire people. I wish I did that more. People have actually asked me, Wax, you need to do more about telling people about some of the little beautiful things that you achieve and you do every day that you just push to the side. Yes, I'm perhaps guilty of that, but I also believe that it should be balanced so that people know that life's actually like that.
And that there's a process to that, especially because we're living in a time today when the generation behind us is in too much of a hurry, I would say.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And they don't have a clear connection between the price, sacrifice, time, patience, and the result. What will you tell them in order to be? Because when I look at the different things you've done with your life, some of the recognition that you've had, and all of that, still you didn't become satisfied, lazy, and lay back. You still kept moving, kept pushing, kept reinventing yourself. What is it? What can you tell the young people, especially young African immigrants coming into America, even those on the continent who are aspiring to plug into the global ecosystem? What can you tell them as some of the key disciplines that they need to be able to succeed?
I think you've mentioned the first one, and you talked about the process. I still think that people need to learn how to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Sometimes I don't glorify these things, like my struggles. I'm just talking about them.
Yes,
but
exactly.
I enjoy the process. I like the challenge.
You are not glorifying it. You are just talking about it.
I'm just talking about it. Yes,
that's powerful.
It's a stepping stone.
Yes,
because I know that when I go above this step, there is a bigger reward ahead, and that's what I'm actually looking for. So when I'm saying, hey, there's this custody battle, what I'm actually saying is that in order to have the joy of a good family where you're together and you're smiling, sometimes it takes an extra effort. It might not be going to court, like in my case, but I guess human being has a story of something of a challenge they've had to go to surmount to build a stable family, a stable home, to have a happy kid, to raise a good child. And that's really the message. And that process, you need to enjoy it. You need to understand it's part of life. And life is going to keep throwing those curveballs at you. And when you learn how to deal with them, it becomes like you're a good chess player who's just having fun with the game. So my message would be to anyone is that you're only as big as your thoughts, as your desires. Once you have that desire, then it's a process. It's a mix of different things. You need a mentor. You need a network. And by network, it means you can choose when you come in who you want to hang out with. You want to hang out with people, and nothing is bad. Everything is good. It just depends on what you want.
Correct.
There's business people you can hang out with. There's academics you can hang out with. There's 419 people you can hang out with.
Exactly.
There's artists you can hang out with and build a network. But build a network in your community and out of your community. Because you need to grow with your community. You need to empower your community, and you need to it's symbiotic. You need to gain back from your community. So I just like the Jews and God. But also out of your community, because you need to use that as a stepping stone to live your American dream, which is bigger than your community.
Hey guys, have you been wondering how you could chat with me one-on-one just to talk on your aspirations, your career, your business, and the things you might dream about with your life and you would really like to do with your life? I know it's been a challenge because a lot of people have been sending me inbox messages, asking me questions, and asking me how they could get to me. That has been answered for you. I've created a one-on-one program where you can actually book a time. You look in the link in the description. You can book a time and have a one-on-one conversation with me for 30 minutes for a very small fee. If you look down in the description of this video, you will find that information, and go ahead and book a time and let's have a conversation.
My dad said, never allow anybody make you a victim.
Man, you should have a book of quotes from that man. I'm telling you, incredible.
Never
We
allow
are blessed to have learned a
anyone-
lot from him.
Yes, he said, never allow anyone make you a victim. I didn't
Very true.
understand it. I didn't understand what it means. I felt it was injustice. He was supposed to take sides with me. I felt I was right. I felt he was supposed to come to my rescue, having explained my side of the story to him. But he looked at my side of the story and he was able to cut through the issue. I was playing the victim card. One of the things I tell clients when I do executive coaching is that never live your life as a victim.
Yes.
Or else you become a victim of the politics.
Yes.
Never play the victim card. How do I mean this? There's a difference of something that I've learned, that in life, in the face of adversity, that the workplace or anywhere, no matter how you are treated, learn to respond and not to react. There are two different things. One key navigational tool for anybody who wants to win office politics is that response comes with a strategic approach. Reaction comes with an emotional victim orientation.
Response comes with a solution approach. Is that what
A
you said?
strategic approach.
A strategic approach.
A strategic approach.
A reaction
How
comes
to-
with an emotional framework.
Emotional victimhood mentality.
Wow, that's powerful.
So
You are dropping some nuggets here, and I hope people are picking it up.
So
this is powerful.
I have experienced unfairness in life. I have experienced unfairness at the workplace. In fact, it was my years of working in corporate sector that I developed that book on office politics. And I said to people, the key response, and if I tell you how I got that inspiration, how I got the idea, it's very simple. It's from the life story of King David in the Bible. David was sent to the war front by his father to give food to his brothers. The Bible said when David got to the war front, his brothers saw him, that he went to give food to. He went to give food. David was going as a servant. Now, mind you, David was never part of the main front of the home. He was sidelined. When they were sharing the goodies of the family, David was never part of it. So that when Prophet Samuel showed up to bless the family members, David was not there. If not for the Spirit of God that advocated for David, David would not have had somebody speaking for him at the table, including his father was not even speaking for him at the table. That is corporate world that you see. When they wanted to appoint him, they had to go and call for David from the backside. Why was David at the backside on a special day when the most important person in the land of Israel showed up to bless the family? They now didn't call you, and yet you are a son in the family. Isn't that unfair?
It is.
The same David who was supposed to be mainstream, because it was a glorious thing to represent your family in the military of Israel. It was a thing of pride, but David was not there. David was only sent as an errand boy to go and serve his brothers. In the course of serving, and so many people listen to us who have been serving, this may be your story. He was going to serve. The people he's going to serve did not even appreciate his service. They did not even recognize him. What did they do? His brother started speaking ill of David. They started saying terrible things to David. He said, I know you. I know the pride in your heart. That's what you have come here. What are you doing here? What are you supposed to be doing? But the Bible records that David went to give them food based on his father's instruction. But something struck me in that part of the Bible. David did not react to what his brother was saying. David did not react. The Bible said David turned around, looked at the soldiers, and asked them a question. What will be given to the man who kills this uncircumcised Philistine? David responded rather than react. Let me explain. He could have been emotional and wept and cried. After all I'm doing for you, Daddy told me to come and give you food. He could have reacted and speak back at his brothers and lash back at them. But David didn't do that. David responded with a strategic question. What will be given to the man who kills this uncircumcised Philistine? David's question was divided into two. And I tell people, when you go to your workplace, you must go to your workplace with these two mentalities. What is the problem? What is the price? What David was asking.
What is the price?
What's the problem? What's the price? What David was asking at his workplace was that our office is confronted with a Goliath. So I have identified this problem in our organization. But what is the price for me if I solve this problem in this organization? That is how to rise to be a star.
Yes.
That is how to rise to be a star. Are you facing persecution, facing racism at work? Focus on solving problems and keep your eyes on the prize. Focus on solving the problems. And how do I say this and why am I saying this? David was able to ask those two questions because he has a skill set that he has been developing over the years. So when David was to say what he wanted to say to the Goliath, what David was saying to the Goliath was that, look, the God Almighty that I serve helped me when I'm alone in the backside of the desert. I killed the lion. I killed the bear. I did this. What David was that David had gone to so many conferences where he has trained and optimized his leadership capability.
Yeah.
He knew how to kill a dangerous animal. He has produced results in the backside that nobody knew about. Nobody recognized him for. David killed the bears that was hunting his father's flock. Not only his father's flock, the community. But nobody recognized David for that. Nobody rewarded David for it. Nobody honored David for it. Nobody gave David promotion for it. Nobody increased David's salary. But yet, David was not a victim. He kept doing it. Yeah. He kept manufacturing musical instruments. He kept writing songs. He kept developing his entertainment skills, his writing skills. He kept developing ability to produce musical instruments, such that the day there was a problem in the palace, David used his manufactured equipment, his skill set, to go and solve a problem at the palace. So people are looking for solutions at their workplace. They're looking for promotion. They don't know that promotion is hinged on those two things, the problem and the prize. There was a problem in the palace. They said the king is running mad. Who can solve this problem? I said, oh, there's a young boy. He has the Spirit of God upon his life. He's so skilled that he can play music that will drive the evil spirit away from the heart of the king. What happened? They called David. David was called at a time that nobody was listening to David's music. It was only goats, sheep that could not speak back to him that were listening to him. So nobody recognized him. Nobody rewarded him. Nobody, but unknown to David, that the little thing he kept doing faithfully, dedicatedly, was going to yield results. So I tell people, when you're at a workplace, you have two options. You exit the place or you remain at the place. But either option that you take, you must be strategic about both. You must be strategic about your exit, and you must be strategic about your staying on the job. The strategy involves those two things I mentioned earlier. What is the problem? What is the price? So what I do now is that when people walk up to me to ask for that, the first thing I ask them the why. What is their why?
Correct.
Do you want this? Why do you want me to mentor you? Tell me. Write me an expose. Why? Why me? Why my choice? It's the same way somebody invites me to come and speak in the organization. I'll ask them why? Why me?
Yeah. I remember you asked me that question.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed. I told my team, this man is solid. So he just doesn't have a good LinkedIn bio. He is solid. He knows what he's doing. Yeah.
So what is the why of what you are doing? Every morning I wake up with the why for my day. I have a to-do list. As I'm sitting in front of you, my to-do list is there of what I want to do. The why. What is the why? So when we are honest with the why, then we're able to define our motivation. The motivation now serves as the guiding compass to keep you steady, keep you committed, and keep you consistent on what you are doing. Whether you get the result or not, then you will not be discouraged. Because it is the lack of why that people don't go through that gets them to start something, they give up in the face of discouragement. That gets to start something, but they are not consistent in what they are doing. I recently had an interview with a gentleman in California when I went visiting, because I teach. I'm a professor for leadership. I teach in some schools. And
wonderful.
Asking me, how have you sustained writing your article every week?
So you've been writing articles every week?
Yeah, I have a newspaper column. That's my newspaper column called The Leadership Factory with Toye. So that's what the community is named after, The Leadership Factory.
Wow.
So I said to the gentleman, I said, when I started out, I was not starting out because I wanted to be known as a newspaper columnist. That was not my why. I wanted to put my thought leadership out there. I was a speaker, I was a trainer, I was running consulting. I felt, okay, why don't I document the wisdom God had given to me and share it with people? My why is in the framework of the organization we started, and that's the Stevens Leadership. Our why is in our mission statement, is in our document there that says our quest is to provide creative insight and solutions to business leaders and organizations. That is our why. Our why is to offer creative insight and solutions to business leaders and organizations. So when I write with a why in mind. That why determines the audience, the who. Who is going to listen to this? This is my why. Okay, why do I want to do this? What is the outcome I expect from this? That's the last bit. But when I say the why, where do I want to do this? Who do I want to do this for? Who do I want to serve? Why do I want to serve these people? What will be the benefit to these people? Those questions of specific, the what, the why, the where, the when, the who. The last part for me is the what. I did not set out to be a popular columnist. My why was not to be popular, was not to be known. In fact, I was surprised early last year, or is it this year, that I heard that my newspaper column has made me to be categorized as one of the top 3% of African thought leaders.
Wow.
And I said, how? How did that
Deservingly
happen?
so.
Yeah, how did that happen? They said, oh, when they ran the algorithm across board, your volume of articles crossed the 100 mark range. I said, what do you mean? They said you have articles published and writings published in more than 100 places and at 100 times, that the system recognizes that. So that's why the likes of Oxford and Side Business School invited me, along with some other leaders in Africa, to come to Oxford for us to come and discuss.
There's something about growing up and believing in yourself. But when yourself is not enough, you have to look out of yourself, then it starts making a difference. Because I knew at one point that I was not enough. Those are the times that I tried to take my life. I knew that my efforts were not going to be enough. I knew that I've tried everything I knew to try, given the situations I was in. And I knew that something had to come from outside. So yes, at first I didn't believe that there's a God and allows a child to suffer that much. I was kind of angry. But when my mother said those things and died, nothing made sense to me anymore. Really nothing. I was depressed. I tried to take my life, but even with trying to take my life, I started.
You weren't successful at it.
Yes, I started realizing too at that time that you know what, man.
Even that you can. You're not even getting successful at that.
So I resorted to, when I went to go to look for God, I was not doing it because I believed that there was a God and active faith. I didn't. I was doing it for my mother at first. I wanted to please my mother because I wanted to commit suicide at this point. I wanted to die because there was no reason. But I just told myself, you know what, just go to what my mom said. And maybe when you die, she will not be angry at you, because my mom was one of my pillars. Even though I wasn't in the house, I knew that one human being loved me, and she just didn't have a way out.
That was your mother.
That was my mother. So when she died, it seems as if I was stripped out of everything and I was alone in this world. So, but her words, and then referencing God, I know that she lost me. So if she tells me you're not going to be happy without finding God, it's like that thing haunted me. So I told myself, I'm just going to go find this God so that if I go, I'll tell her that I did and it didn't work out. But at least I tried what you said. So that's when I took myself to church, and it seems as if the church was waiting for me too. I went there and I was loved again. That's the first group of people, a full gospel church in Moliko Boya. That's the first group of people who showed me love.
Wow. Now, so, I want you to just hold that thought, Irene.
Yes.
Just hang on to that thought for me. Don't go from there.
Okay.
Now you get closer to that church, trying to find God, trying to hang on to faith, right?
Yeah.
During that time when you're trying to transition into the positive, because I like this transitional moment, because when I even look at the work you do, this is the definition of who you are.
Yeah.
You are a transformational coach, not only from your professional experience as a Scrum Master, but a life transformational coach.
Yes.
Because you practically move people from point A to point B mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically.
Correct.
And the reason why I want you to hold that thought is because it's important. I really want my audience to understand the progression here.
Yes.
Right? Coming from where you're coming, and now you're transitioning into the brighter side of life. Yes. The brighter side is not necessarily material things yet. Those are important. The brighter side doesn't mean you figured out where you're going to live the next day. The brighter side, from what I am gathering, is you now understanding and trying to realize that life could be possible.
Yes.
That love exists.
Yes.
That faith exists.
Yes.
So now, where did you start getting the courage to let your guard down and say, you know what? I have a community of people here who love me. I am going to relax a little bit and let them love on me.
Yes.
How did you work your mind and your spirit to come across to that other side?
I think you said the word mindset change. Like, the thing about mindset, and that's what I preach a lot, is that everything is not happening in the box you see or the box you're in. There's much more happening outside. So the way I see it and I saw it is that, yeah, I'm in this box, but out of this box is a lot happening, everything else happening. But sometimes, most of the times I was frustrated in life was when I just was confined in this box and I hit every corner and I thought, this is it. So it's until I started accepting other information, faith, God, everything else is possible. You can, then I started seeing with God, everything is possible. I'm like, everything like what? Like, my life can be better than this? But what does that mean to me? It means I don't have to go around blaming everybody, blaming my father. I don't have to blame. I think I have, this thing is right here in my hands. Maybe I can do something with my life.
With it.
So when my mindset started changing to understanding, okay, yeah, I was created here. Maybe this is my purpose. Because when I went to church, I was very radical. I wanted to understand, okay, now I understand I was brought here for a reason, but it doesn't look like it. And I like how you said it. It's not, it wasn't like somebody gave me a bunch of money and like, this is it. And that's why I also preach, start where you are, because I started with a mindset change and with a determination that I'm going to walk the process to get to where I'm going. So this whole thing is being able to relax, as you said, just relax yourself and say, okay, this is a new environment. it's new people. But as long as I'm accepted, I'm loved, I'm going to figure out the opportunities here. So now I started looking for opportunities that I wasn't looking for before, at places where I wasn't even thinking about before. I started, shifting from blame game to yes, all of this. I started accepting that, okay, this is my life. This is how it is. I can change it. However, how I move forward is important to me. I can decide to still hop from boyfriend to boyfriend, or I can decide to say, okay, what is it that I can start doing from where I am right now? So when I went to church, they asked me, what do you want to do? I said, you know what? I think I should learn the computers. Because at that time I had no education. I dropped out from 4. I said, maybe I should learn computers because I like communication. So I started with learning how to use the internet. That's what I could do at that time without
you have.
Yes, yes. So I started that, and that's how I met my pen pal in Germany. Pen pal from Germany came to visit Cameroon, saw my situation. He didn't know I was homeless. So I was just doing tour guide with my friends. And when he was going back, one of my friends gossiped that, oh, she's actually a homeless girl. She's with us. But when you leave, she's going to leave. I was in Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon. They said, she's going to leave. We don't know where she's going because we know her parents disowned her a long time ago. So this guy took it to heart when he left, and it's like, when he went back, he sent me an email like, I can't believe you're homeless. I want to give you a place to stay. And he sent me 250,000 Cameroon francs for a homeless girl like me. That was crazy. So rented a place. I started staying there, but he said, I want to take you to Germany. So I introduced him to my aunt in Germany. They talked. I don't know how they came up. Eventually, he came to Cameroon. We got married. Took me to Germany. So on the plane to Germany, I was in awe because I just left not having a square meal
Where
a
to
day,
stay?
where to stay for 7 good years to in the plane going to Germany. So I was sitting in that plane. I didn't even believe what was happening to me at that time. So I just said, I don't know God. I was angry at God for a long time. I was just like, there's no God, I'm suffering. So, but when I was sitting on that plane, it dawned on me that there has to be a God, because why me? Wow. I left so many girls on that street, my friends that I met on the street. I'm like, there has to be something more than this. Why me? Why did he choose from out of all these girls? Why me? So that's when I realized there has to be a God. So I just made a promise to him at that time, not knowing. I just said, you know what? If I'm going to this strange continent that you're taking me to, and I will make it, I will come back and help girls like myself. That's the only thing that made sense to me at that point. It felt that there had to be a purpose for him to choose me. And I told him I will fulfill that purpose. If I make it there, I'll fulfill that purpose. I'll come back for another girl. That's where the seed of Emerge was born. I went to Germany, ended up in America 5 years later, went back to school, everything started from scratch. When I got my GED, went to university, and I was in a law class. After I graduated, I was sitting in a law class. And then it dawned on me, because all this while, that image of girls in my head, me back in the days, like I kept seeing myself struggling. And then what caught me when I was sitting in that law class was that most of the girls I was homeless with had died from HIV. The HIV epidemic had taken most of them away. So I kept postponing, when I graduate, when I become a lawyer, I will do it. And then when I wrote the LSAT, passed LSAT, sat in the law class, and I was like, the teacher was teaching, I'm like, just lost. And then he called me out because we had our name tag the first day. He said, Irene, I don't see anybody who comes to their first law class after going through crazy.
Through all the pain.
Yeah.
And they're not excited.
Yes. And they're not excited. You're not here. So I told him to excuse me. I went out to the bathroom, and as I stood at the mirror, I knew, Gustav, what I wanted to do. I was going to law school for the wrong reasons. I was going there because I wanted to prove a point. I was like, I finally made it. So let me just add lawyer Irene. And so this whole community can know that I made it, you know. But I stood in that mirror and I knew exactly. And I said, Lord, the time has come. I have finished college. I have my production company. I studied film, communication with the film. And I said, I already started a production company, is working. I don't have to be a lawyer to please the world. I think I need to follow my purpose. And at that time, it didn't have a name. I just knew that I had to go work on getting a girl off the streets and giving them a second chance, because I was there and I know that there are good people on that street. So now I left that class that day. I went home and I just didn't have peace. I was going to go to Africa. I didn't know how. At that time, I had been taking care of my dad, but I had not reconciled with him. So I knew that was another step I had to make. So I booked a flight. I'm going home to talk to my dad, reconcile with my dad. And then second phase is figure out, because at that time, I didn't know how I'm going to do the street thing. I just said, I'm going to figure out when I get there, how I'm going to start helping girls like me. So went home, my dad and I and the family, we did that reconciliation. And right there in my father's living room, there's a young little girl who came in there because we have some orphans in the house. She was sitting there with the orphan and I asked, who's that? They said, Salamatu. I said, Salamatu, how are you? She said, fine. She came there because we were doing that small reconciliation party. So the next day when the kids had gone to school, she came again. And I saw this girl just sitting there. Kids are in school. So I'm like, what's going on? Salah, why are you not in school? She said, I've dropped out from class 7.
Wow.
Because my mother could not afford to pay, to do my birth certificate. So I turned around and looked at my dad. I'm like, birth certificate? He said, yeah. I said, Dad, can you follow up? Because my dad is connected in Bamenda, Cameroon. I said, but Dad, can you follow up that for her? I said, how much is it? 10,000. I'm like, it's 10,000. This child is over. So I just saw that child. She was a little girl, class 7. And I saw me and how it could all just go wrong from here. That's the same thing with me. So I was just like, no, it cannot happen. So I told her to go bring her mom. I instructed my dad. Actually, my first girl, my dad and I worked that mission. My dad went to the council, made sure she was registered. I went to their school, made sure that they said, okay, if you bring it, we're going to send it to the ministry. We're going to try to register her for first school. And I told her when I was leaving Cameroon, I said, if you pass your common entrance list A, I will sponsor you. And I came back to the States. 2 months later, they called me. My dad called me and she was the one and said, I passed. That was how the project started. But for the name emerge, I saw Salah's thing, sent her to school. And I went back to Cameroon, started with 6 girls. And then when I came back to the States, it seems as if that thing 20 years ago on the plane
has finally emerged.
I can see it now manifesting. So when I came back, I was dreaming. I'm telling you, when I sleep on the bed, it's just like I was seeing girls. I was sitting with girls. And I slept one night and I was thinking of a name. I slept one night and I said, I really need a name for this thing. And then the name, one day as I was sleeping, the name just jumped up. I don't know how it came, emerged with Irene. And it made sense to me because the names I was choosing before, I felt like there was something missing. But when I heard that thing, yes, emerged with Irene meant to me how I saw it then, that I'm still emerging. I'm still trying to figure out my life. I'm still trying to get all the pieces together. But at this point, I'm not going to wait to say I've arrived to go and pick somebody else. So I'm going to just start holding hands. Let's emerge together. So that's what emerged with Irene means. You see, know where you're going, find somebody who's already there and look up to them, reach out to them, follow the people who can take you to the place that you want to go. Don't keep following anything and everything and just wasting your time. I'm telling you, if you just shift your mindset just a little bit, you realize that the next big thing is there. And please don't start with the end in mind, but don't start thinking, I want it. I hate what they call quick fixes. For many people, what keeps them stagnant is that they want it now. I keep telling even my followers, I say, you know what? I conceived Emerge Irene on that plane to Germany. It took 20 years. I knew that the me that was sitting on that plane with no O levels, nothing, shamed, cannot speak to anybody, cannot transform anybody. I need to be transformed.
And then you can transform.
Thank you. So I knew that I had to go to, if I want to speak to somebody who is educated, I need to, first of all, be educated. If I want to speak to the girls on the street, I need to show that I have moved from A to B, so that I can then tell them that, okay, this is how I moved from A to B. You too can. So you have to be the example. There's no shortcuts. And you can have that vision. This is what you see, but you have to do certain things. Take responsibility. You have to focus. Avoid distractions. I mean, just keep moving one step and another, but find the people who are going where you're going and make it right.
Hey guys, just a brief break from regular programming. You see, most human beings, if you really go deep into their heart's desire, they want three things. They want to live a life of growth and development in order to be relevant. They want to be able to build wealth and also leave behind a legacy that will last for perpetuity. In my Guarantee Your Legacy program, which is a custom designed program, I answer these three questions and more for you. I have limited availability on that program. It's an 8-week program whereby we meet once a week, one-on-one with me. In addition to that, I'll walk through the different critical things that you need to be able to grow as a person, to be able to become relevant, to be able to impact people in order to create a legacy. And in doing that, you can also build wealth. If you already have it, I can teach you how to protect it, preserve it, so that way it lasts for perpetuity. Don't hesitate. If you would like to learn more about that program, click on the link down in the description section of this video, and I sure will see you on the inside. Let's go back to the regular programming.
You know, our biggest thing, and I know you talk a lot about mindset, there's nothing bigger than mindset. There's nothing. There's nothing. You have to decide. Everything has to be intentional. It doesn't come by design. And for those who know me, I didn't just walk into PwC because I was like any student who just walked into PwC. I did not. I went to PwC because I already worked my ground when I was in the university. For those who know me, they know what I'm talking about. So you have to, when you're working, wherever you are, you have to start thinking of, where do you want to go? What is your apple? What is your apple? Once you determine, I was coming from a very small family. Our problem was always about, oh, we are not able to eat. We are not able to do this. Poverty was around everywhere. And for me, I didn't want to be associated to poverty. No, zero. I don't want it. And so even when I went to University of Boya, for those who know me, we created something called the University of Boya Accounting Association. I was president of the university. That was our child. What did we say? I told people that, look, we have to make the world of accounting and taxes in this country know that we exist. Every person in America needs accountants. We are the first batch of accountants being trained in the universities in Cameroon. Let's do this. We created University of Boya Accounting Association. And by the time, and this is important, I'm saying it to young people, when people go through school and they are very quiet, they think it's a virtue. It's not. You have to know where you're going to and start working towards within groupings to be able to make that happen. So what did we do? We contacted we went to UONECA, the National Institute of Chartered Accountants in Cameroon. We obtained the list of all chartered accounting firms in Cameroon, every person who was a chartered accountant. We wrote to all of them to inform them that we are the first set of university students being trained as accountant in Cameroon. We wrote to them. All the other companies, brasseries, all these other companies, we wrote letters to them. And what did we do? We also were very vocal. I was in FM Sound Sing every day talking. That was when FM Sound Sing just started. The Moise Bank, all these guys. I was every day talking about our association. And what did that do for us? When we launched the association, all those guys, when we created symposia in the University of Boya, all those big names, Christian Mu, all the Suki Martin, all these big boys who were then the big boys of the industry, they were coming to university to come and speak to us. And how did they know us? So they knew us. By the time we graduated from university, we had about 70 students who were going for internship in all these places because
70.
we had made ourselves almost 70.
Wow.
70, because we made ourselves known. And Charles, what did Charles do? Charles had the right to select because he had spearheaded all these things. And that's how I find myself.
I love that. I love that. You kept the apple. You know, Mr. Joya, I love the way you talk about some of those things. Because if there is one thing we need today, especially in our young people, is to reignite that fire in them. That hunger, that desire to realize that we are not going to compete on the global stage with mediocrity. We cannot compete on the global stage with the perception to only think it's man no man, or if I don't know this. No. What do you bring to the marketplace?
Absolutely.
What is the product you bring? What is the skill you bring? What is the work ethic? Mr. Joya, you've had a chance to work for this top company.
One small thing just before you get there.
Yeah.
When the other thing that happened is that when you go to an environment like that, I'm coming from the University of Boya where we didn't even know how to use computers. We were studying, we were not using anything. What did I do? I had to look for money. I used to sell shoes when I was in the university. I was selling female shoes.
No doubt you're always well dressed. Look at him. look at the tax strategies today. The man looks like a top notch. And like he's
what do I do? I took all my money when people are graduated and gone home. I stayed in the university for 2 months doing only IT, only computers, learning that computer. And when it came to time for me to go to PwC, I went there already.
You're ready.
What I was doing.
You knew
and
what?
2 years, 2 years down the line, they are looking for the best people to send them to Europe to go and train. Who did they come from? The first name was Charles Njoya. We want that guy to go to UK. And that was all about me. It changed my whole trajectory to today. So if you are a young person, you have to know your apple. Once you select your apple, many people tell us that, hey, do what you like, do what you love, because this is every time you do what you love, you are in comfort zone. You are in comfort zone. Comfort zone doesn't help anybody. You have to work hard to get to where you want to go. And it is nothing about comfort. Comfort zone means that you want to sleep. My family, people, my daughter always wants to sleep. Is that the thing that's what she loves. Should I encourage her to do that? No. So you have to go out of your comfort zone to get to your thing. That's how I got to the UK. Before you know it, my growth in PwC, for those who know, it was astronomical. I grew like a mushroom. Because I was pushing my way to get to the place where I want to.
And you're preparing for that.
When we are in the United States, we should understand that this is the most affluent country in the world. We cannot limit ourselves here. If anybody has made it, I too can make it. If somebody is building a skyscrapers down there, this economy, the effort you make to build a 2-story building is the same effort you make to build a skyscrapers using other people's money. We just need to get ours. We just need to clearly understand what we're looking for.
How it works.
And then look for it and then start working towards it. It will happen.
I want you to quickly give us what are some of the 3 key leadership capabilities that a young man listening or a young lady listening to you right now should immediately start investing and working on if they haven't started working on yet. That will serve them no matter what industry they go, no matter what direction they want to take their life, no matter what kind of work they want to dedicate themselves to. Just give me 3 of them.
The first thing I always tell people is that you want to identify what you want to achieve. You need to be clear. You need to be clear on where you want to go. I am not saying that you need to know exactly that I want to be this, but you need to know what you don't like. I don't like poverty. I want to be wealthy. It means that if you decide that I want to be wealthy, it means that the number one thing you need to do is look at what wealthy people are doing and have a mentor. You can have a proper mentor. Mentorship is critical. Number two, you have to read books. You have to read. Read how the other people, if you want to read book about wealth, read. There are so many books out there that you have to read. We don't read. We don't read. And we believe that we know it all. If you know it all, and you cannot read you cannot read,
and learn from others.
You are broken. The third thing is you have to learn how to listen. Listen.
Be teachable.
Listen. If you cannot listen, you cannot do nothing. Listening is so important. When I went to PwC, I'm talking about me. And when I talk about me, I'm not making, there are people who have far better careers than I have. But when I went to PwC, I met superstars, superstars. Some of these boys are superstars. I met people like the Elias Pungong, Suki Martin, all these, they were superstars. What do? You bend down and then you say, guys, I want to learn. Everything they say, you listen. You learn from them. And these are the guys who are going to lift you up. You don't go into someone's area, into someone's jurisdiction, and you become the boss. You want to become the boss. You are going to be broken overnight. When you go to somewhere and you see, this is the place I want to be in, your only thing to do is to be humble and listen and learn. And learn. Because once you learn from those guys, those are the guys who are going to, God doesn't come down to create, to lift anybody, to do anything. You use people to lift you, to take you to where you want to go. When this thing came about people going to Europe, my parents would never have sent me to Europe. They couldn't afford it. I would never have gone to anywhere. My entry into PwC is not because I had any brother or any uncle who had anything. It's because I pushed myself towards the thing I wanted to do. Yeah. And then when I got there and I knew this is the place I want to be, my next thing was I put my head down, I listened and I worked hard. Let me tell you what I did. Let me tell you some things that are critical. Mm-hmm. When I came to PwC, one thing is that University of Boya used to graduate many students, but we had challenges. We go to the market and then we're struggling. Correct. I go to a firm, we go to do an audit, or we go on to work for a client, and then I struggle. They give me all the information. I just gather them. I just gather documents. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to do some of these things. I go back the whole night. I'm not sleeping. I am not sleeping. I am learning from everywhere I can learn. I got books. I did this. And then most importantly, there was a guy. I actually was taking my salary from PwC. And I was paying him half my salary to teach me how to become the best person. So every time I took a job in the night, we would sit there, we would study. And I knew exactly what to do the following day. And that's how I became what I became. And then they realized that this guy is good enough to be chosen to be sent to sent to somewhere. And that changed your life. So listening is key. Respect, humility. And then you have to read.
Hey guys, in addition to all the valuable information I bring to you every week on my videos and my short videos on different platforms, especially here on YouTube, I also have a community of over 2,000 like-minded, serious and driven people who, like you, are receiving exclusively this time a newsletter once a week. And this information in the newsletter is unique and it only goes to those people who are part of the newsletter community. So if you are interested in getting this once a week update, which includes different tips, different ideas on how to build yourself, how to generate wealth, how to make money, how to build a legacy, go ahead and click down in the link in the description and you'll be able to join our newsletter community. And when you join that community, you would realize exactly how much value that brings to you on a weekly and daily basis. Let's get back to regular programming.
Because I feel like when we're talking about where we are right now or how we got to this point, it's good for people to understand where you're coming from or where you came from. So correct. My journey all starts like I moved to the US when I was 18 on my own for greener pastures, of course. And my parents sent me here and I didn't have a lot of family here. I just had maybe 1 or 2 relatives and I just had to figure stuff out. And on top of that, I was undocumented. And moving to a new country at that age is a very peculiar age because independence in America is at 18. So
Correct.
age is very strategic because you're either going to make it or you can go astray. And reason being that 18 you have independence. If a child comes here maybe at 13, 12 or under 18, they can still be controlled by their parents, right? Because they have guardians and like, okay, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. But for example, if someone comes here at 18 and that's called independence age in America. If you meet the wrong group of people, you can literally go astray. So that's a very,
Fact.
very critical age. So I moved here at 18 and I had to figure out stuff. I had to figure out the system to a new culture, new system, everything. And it's almost 16 years now. So when I came here, I had to go to school, and that's how I even got into debt because I was like, okay, I came fresh out of high school, started university in Cameroon, but I did not finish it. So I had to come here and then start university. And coming here and not having the right orientation too is another thing. So I was jumping from major to major. Today I'm a nursing major because when most Africans come here, what did they tell you to get into? Back in
Nursing.
2010, 2011, 2009, nursing was what was at the peak, right? IT was
Correct.
not something that was very prominent then like that as now. But everybody was saying nursing, but I knew for a fact I never loved nursing. I'm scared of the hospital, and nursing was not something for me. So I was skipping majors in school. At one point, I was a physical therapy major, and then at one point, I was a social work major. At one point, I was a public health major, and then I finally settled on IT. So by the time I was graduating community college, I went to community college, Montgomery Community College, Maryland. Anyone knows that? A lot of people that live in Montgomery County. I went to Montgomery Community College. So by the time I was graduating from there, I had a lot of credits. And because I was jumping from major to major, so I had almost 120 credits. And those credits could qualify you for a bachelor's degree because, to have a bachelor's degree, you need 120 credits. But I was
Hmm.
graduating with an associate with 120 credits. And that's how I got a lot of debt. And some of that debt was also coming from the balance of my student loans. You know how when they give out loans to you,
Hmm.
you can get the balance if you need it. And honestly,
And not spend it on stuff.
I needed it per se because I was only here by myself, like being 20, going to school, supporting family back home. Family needs stuff, Christmas time is
Hmm.
coming, you have to send money back home. You just have to support family, right? So I was taking that money, sending some back home. So I was not necessarily spending all of that money. And
Correct.
when I went to the bank to open my first bank account, I think I was about 19 then. And banks are all salespeople. And the lady at the bank was like, "Oh, we're offering a credit card. Do you want to sign up for one? If you get approved, we're running this promotion that you could get $100 back." And $100 to a broke 19-year-old is a lot of money. I'm talking about almost 16 years ago. That is a lot of money. And I was like,
Correct.
why not? What do you need from me? She's like, we need your socials, we need your address, without even orientating me what a credit card was, because I didn't really know how credit worked. Where I come from, we don't use credit. Everything we buy is cash. And mind you,
Correct.
money is not something that is talked about in our communities or the way we grew up. So I signed up for the card, or she ran my credit, social security, everything. That was my first credit card. And I got approved. I think it was for $500. And she's like, "Yeah, you got approved. Do you want to get it?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I need it. I need money." So I took the credit card, was just maxing it out, trying to figure out how to use credit. That's what helped me to learn how to start using credit. Because, of course, I was a little reckless with my credit. And at one point, I was maxing it out, not understanding how to really utilize the credit, how to really pay it. Because that's one thing a lot of people don't really know how credit work. I was one of those people. But again, I was 19, naive, broke. It's expected of the typical 19-year-old. So, yeah, I went to school. Fast forward, I got my master's degree right after my bachelor's degree, and I also took another debt because I went to a private university. I graduated from Strayer University I had my bachelor's of science in computer informatics with a minor in project management. Same for my master's. I graduated from Strayer University. accumulated another over 50K worth of debt. And by the time I was graduating, I had, I think, about 120 something, almost 130 worth of student loans because, of course, in graduate school, I was also taking back the rest of my student loans. So they will
Wow.
give me back $8,000 and I will use it because I needed money. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so fast forward, that's how I realized by the time I was done with school, started working six figures, and I woke up one day and I got a mail from my student loan servicer at the time, which was Navian, in saying that I have to pay $2,500 a month in student loans. And I was like, what? That was like
What?
in 2019. I'm like, I have to pay 20. So they listed out all my debt, and I had about 15 of them because they would categorize them. It was
Uh-huh.
about 15, loan A, loan B, all the way. So I was like, I have to pay 2,500. And I called them and I'm like, yeah, that's how much you owe. You owe almost about 130 or so with your interest because interest is accruing on some of those debts.
Correct.
So it's like, so that's where you are. But if you're not able to pay that, we have what we call an income driven plan. Based on how much you earn, you need to prove that by sending us your last 2 years of your tax document
Returns.
returns. Will see how much you made if you're not really having a good income. Because I was like, I cannot afford 2,526 a month. They're like the only
Correct.
way you can get on an income driven repayment plan. It's if you send us your tax documents, we can reevaluate it and tell you how much you'll be paying. So
Mm-hmm.
when I got that mail, something rang a bell in my head, and I'm like, wait, I'm currently making six figures. I don't have kids because when someone has kids, you understand because daycare,
Mm-hmm.
kids are expensive, period. They're,
Mm-hmm.
especially when they're younger, you have to pay for daycare, all of this stuff, clothing, just taking care of kids. So I'm like, wait, Nina, you don't have kids, you don't have a family you're really supporting directly. You're making about 130 a year. You don't have a lot of debt. And mind you, I already started like paying off my credit cards and stuff like that. I started really getting financial savvy, but I was still not really into it. And I'm like, why
Mm-hmm.
are you still broke and you cannot afford to pay your student loans of $2,500 a month? And when I look around my circle, it was pretty much rinse and repeat. We're literally borrowing Peter to pay Paul. Everyone had the same lifestyle. Like, can you lend me $500? I'll give you in 2 weeks when I get paid. And I'm like, something is not right.
Something is not adding up here.
Yeah. Why is it that I'm making six figures, but I'm still broke? So I literally
Correct.
went online and Google how to get out of debt. I went online and typed in Google, how do you get out of debt? And the first person that popped up was Dave Ramsey. When I saw Dave Ramsey, he had a YouTube channel. He redirected me to his YouTube channel. And I was like, wait, I binge watched all of his videos that night. I started watching how people were calling in, talking about their debt. And I'm like, there is a pandemic in America and it's a debt pandemic. So many people are in debt like that. I thought I was the only one. We have a debt pandemic in America. So that's when I
Uh-huh.
realized that I'm not the only one. People who are way older than me are in the same situation. And even prior to that, I had taken about $32,000 and given to this crypto agency. They said they were going to trade it for us and give us back 10 to 12% returns every month. I was just trying to make money. And that money came from what you call Njangi, what we play, what we
Mm-hmm.
call, it's called Njangi or Susu. And I
Mm-hmm.
lost all that
So
money.
like that is the country, that is the club system where people contribute a certain amount of money every month and they hand it to one person, right?
Yes. So
Awesome.
I took that money together. Mine was about 25. I took about 7K for my cousin. That was like 32. I put it into that, lost everything.
How did you rally your mind, your spirit, your emotions to get yourself to, you know what? These things have happened. I have to dig my way out of here. I am responsible for this. How did you get yourself to that place?
So when I started listening to Dave Ramsey, I became a fan of his YouTube channel. That's literally
Uh-huh.
what I started watching. I was watching his channel and I realized that I knew nothing about money because prior to that, I had never budgeted. Prior to that,
Mm-hmm.
I had never, and I heard the term pay yourself first. When I heard that term, I had to sleep on it for like 2 days. I'm like, what do you guys mean by paying yourself first? I was so
Correct.
confused. I'm like, what do you mean? So when I heard the definition that whatever you earn, you have to put some aside, maybe 20, 30% or 10%, depending for your future
Correct.
stuff. And I was like, oh, I've been doing this all along. When I get my money, I spend and I have nothing left. So through Dave Ramsey, I found out that you had what you call the debt-free community. It was a community on Instagram. So I just started binge watching YouTube finance, podcasts, newsletters, the Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg. You can think about it. Like I just got soaked in the world of finance. You think I have a finance degree or I graduated from a Harvard School of Business. No, I didn't. But I was in that community connecting with other like-minded people who were paying off debt, and it changed my whole mindset completely. My mindset completely shifted. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is what I needed. So when I started
Right.
interacting with those people, I started paying off my debt very aggressively. And thank God we got into the pandemic. That helped me as well because we were not going anywhere. And at one point during the pandemic, I had like two jobs because people were like, how did you pay off $140,000 worth of debt within 1 year? Because it was about, let me just say, 14 months.
14 months, yes.
I was so aggressive paying off that debt. And I used to support a lot of extended family back home. I cannot credit. When everyone asks me for money, I'm like, I'm on this journey. You cannot understand, but I'm sorry, I can't help you. Prior to that,
Mm-hmm.
I was so generous and I was just helping anybody,
Mm-hmm.
$500 here and there. And I was like, I'm taking care of everybody but my future self when I realized
Correct.
that. And thank God I was still young. I mean, I wouldn't say I was so young. I was like between 27 and 28. So I feel like that's too young to really correct those
Have
mistakes.
recovery time, yeah.
Yeah, so I started really aggressively paying off my debt. And when someone asked me for help back home, I'll just tell them that, oh, I can't help you this month. Unfortunately, it's not in my budget. I'll think about it
Mm-hmm.
next month. So I started budgeting, really. So I understood what a budget was. And I started budgeting. I was tracking my money and I was seeing where every dollar was going to. And I used the Dave Ramsey system. You give every dollar a job. I literally give
Mm-hmm.
every dollar.
Well, I want you to give them some practical steps that worked for you, that you used to keep your mind, your spirit focused, and you did on a day-to-day basis to clear 140,000 in 14 months. That is powerful.
Thank you so much. So, what I start by telling people is that we need to have an open mind to be able to unlearn a lot of stuff and be able to be teachable and relearn new stuff, especially being in a foreign country, a new culture, a new system. Because a lot of us, we come from the notion that we didn't grow up talking about money, and that's the fact. We come from
Mm-hmm.
African background. Like, how many of our
Mm-hmm.
parents actually sat us down on the dining table and talked about money? Where we come from, we don't know anything like that, but I had to like forgive myself like for not knowing these things because my parents only taught me what they knew. And also I had to forgive my parents because they didn't know any better. They taught us what they knew at the time. So they gave us all
Mm-hmm.
the information they knew. They didn't know. So I want us to quit making the excuses that I didn't grow up knowing about money. So it's not my fault that I don't know money. You are
Mm-hmm.
an adult. You're responsible for the decisions you make and you will face the consequences. So you have to be able to have those firm decisions and be like, I'm ready to learn about money. I'm ready to
Mm-hmm.
understand how investing works. Same the way we came to America and learned about winter. Where we come from,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have winter. We come from a very tropical climate. But we had to learn how to cope with winter and other stuff in America. We had to learn how to cope with driving cars that are very automatic. Most cars in Africa are stick shift or however you call them. So if you can be able to shift certain aspects of your life, you can make it a 360 and that even concerns your finances. So take it upon you. So I had to like forgive my younger self for all the mistakes I made and like, okay, I'm giving myself grace, but I'm turning a whole new chapter. By the time I get to
Right.
30, I'm going to understand how investing works. I'm going to understand how budgeting works. I'm going to understand how paying yourself works. And I literally had to put in the work and soak in myself and learn all this knowledge. And what really helped me was the fact that when I was paying down my student loans, I saw how the debt was going down because I was using the snowball method by
Mm-hmm.
Dave Ramsey. And I really applaud my debt payoff to him, even though I don't support all his principles. But when it comes to paying off debt, I give credit
Mm-hmm.
to Dave Ramsey because he really ignited the flames in me. he has two methods, the debt snowball and what's the other one? The debt avalanche method.
Avalanche. Yeah.
I was using the debt snowball. So I listed all my debts from the smallest to the largest. And once I was paying off those debts, it really gave me the momentum to keep going when I saw how the debt was reducing. And every time you pay off your debt, you're going to get this celebratory email from Navient. Oh, congrats, you just paid off one of your student loans. Because I told you there were like 15 of them listed out.
Right.
It was so exciting. And during the pandemic, we had nothing else doing. So I was all focused on paying off my debt to just wake up, log
Mm-hmm.
into my account and see that my balance has reduced. I was like, wow, this is so exciting. And when I kind of pitched it to one or two people that are like, oh no, I'm never going to pay off my student loans and I'm going to take them to the grave. Obama just finished paying off his debt. And I'm like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I want to have the peace of mind of paying off my
Mm-hmm.
debt. I want to be a good steward. I borrowed this money. I'm responsible. I want to pay off my debt and just have the peace of mind. I know I can
Mm-hmm.
put this money elsewhere, but paying off this debt is never gonna come back. So starting a business
Mm-hmm.
is not guaranteed to succeed because
Mm-hmm.
most small businesses are guaranteed to fail within the first 5 years.
Correct.
Pay off my debt, the debt is never gonna come back. If I start a business, I'm taking a risk. It might work, it might
Mm-hmm.
not. So that really gave me the momentum to keep going when I see
That's
my balances reducing.
you to break this down for me because a lot of people, especially immigrant people in America, have improved their career direction today. And they're making good money in different careers, which are high paying careers, yet they still struggle, yet they still live paycheck to paycheck. From your experience, what explains that? Despite the high earnings, the high income that comes in, careers that are paying six figures and above, what still explains for that struggle?
I think what explains for that struggle is just the lack of knowledge. And for some people, they know, but it's their inability to take action. So some of us, and the good thing
Discipline.
now is that the
Mhm.
discipline, a lot, the good thing now is that when it comes to stuff that relates to money, investing and budgeting and all this stuff that encapsulates finances, right? We have a well ton of knowledge on the internet right now. A lot of people are talking about this on podcasts, on YouTube. I learned a lot from University of YouTube. I learned a lot
Yes.
from Instagram. And you think I have a degree in business from a business school of Harvard or some business school, or I have a degree in finance. No, I don't have a degree in finance. I come from a completely IT background. But
Mhm.
this information is readily available, but a lot of us are not taking advantage of it, or a lot of us feel like we have time, or a lot of us keep having this notion that I didn't come from this, so I don't have to bother, or we feel like, oh, I'm still young, I have a lot of time on my hands. And but people don't understand that when it comes to money and in particularly investing, money is not the issue. Time is your biggest factor when it comes to
Sure.
time is your biggest factor. So that's why someone who starts at like 25 could always become a millionaire investing $100 than somebody who is starting at 35 or 40 investing 1,000
$500. True.
$500. So time is your biggest factor. And then also the fact that a lot of us think that, oh, my kids are my retirement plan. Bingo, that I'm sorry to say that, but with this generation that we're in now, we can't continue to count on our kids because they have their own lives to live. And yeah, a lot of us just come from backgrounds that did not teach us about money, but we need to unlearn and have an open mind to know that I can make this happen. And people say that investing is only for wealthy people, but I'm sorry to break it to you, investing is how wealthy people got rich. It's not just for wealthy people.